272 pounds, 252.4 pounds.
The highly anticipated fight between Anthony Joshua and Francis holds on March 8, 2024, and the biggest professionals of the game have lined up on both sides of the fence. While some tip Francis for his first ever boxing victory, others favor Joshua for the 28th win of his boxing career. Let's see what the pros have got to say. Expectedly, the first pro making a pick is the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson. The 3-year-old undisputed world heavyweight champion has this to say about the match between Anthony Joshua and Francis. Despite coaching Francis to a split decision loss against Tyson Fury in his boxing debut, it's been confirmed that Mike Tyson won't coach him this time. Francis quickly cleared all speculations regarding Mike Tyson's involvement in his fight with Anthony Joshua in an interview. To be honest, in this fight, since my own trainer was here, we didn't get Tyson here this time. Due to his uninvolvement, you can trust Tyson's prediction to be honest and unsentimental. Iron Mike, starting with Joshua, feels Joshua has so much potential, but has some work to do on his speed. He expresses how a fight with Joshua was never a walk in the park, and how Joshua's abilities could pose such a threat to any opponent he faced. Joshua is no walkover. He's a perfect specimen. He's beautiful, but Joshua needs to pick up the pace a little. Not much. He's got so much damn potential. Tyson fought 58 fights, won 50, and had 44 of them knockouts. More impressively, he won his first 19 professional fights by knockout, 12 of them in the first round, and holds the record for being the youngest ever boxer to win a heavyweight title. The opinion of a man with such magnificent records should be as esteemed as it can be. Tyson appreciates Joshua's physique but claims he's not at that level just yet. Even after 30 fights and championship belts, including an Olympic gold medal, Tyson feels one aspect of Joshua's game is yet to develop completely. Joshua has to know how to throw more points. Boom, boom. His jab's gifts are constantly out there, and he got to turn them into something. All Joshua needs to get some more support from Tyson is to work on the necessary parts of his game that Tyson analyzed as weaknesses. Tyson didn't end there with Joshua. Tyson feels there's so much expectation from Joshua for some unknown reasons. Just before he wraps up on Joshua, he opens up on some psychological tips for him. His mind has to be right. He ain't going in the back of his mind. He's got to stay away from himself and his thoughts. He's got to have a reason to fight for. He's got to ask himself, who are you? Tyson speaks experientially and tips Joshua to work on his mind and stay off himself. He's got to stand in the face of adversity and fight for a reason. Tyson then moves on to the guy who took the world by storm on his boxing debut against one of the world's greatest, Tyson Fury. Tyson and Francis worked together before Francis's match in October against Tyson Fury. Even if Iron Mike won't be training Francis in his fight against Joshua, Tyson's surely got more insights into Francis's style. He's not just talking as a former professional boxer, but as a trainer and coach. Let's hear him out. Tyson seems to have a perfect way of introducing his predictions. Oftentimes, he starts by highlighting the fighter's strengths. Then he subtly talks about a weakness before giving his advice and predictions. With Francis, he appreciates one fact the world knows about the man looking for his first boxing victory: his powerful hits. I've worked with him in the past, and you all don't know how powerful his punches are. This statement comes as a big surprise because nothing seems hidden about Francis's punches after he set the record for the hardest punch in the world in 2018. He tested himself on a power cube machine that measures the power of a punch by analyzing its force, speed, and accuracy. His test results were a stunning overhand right strike power of 129,161 units, an off-balance uppercut punch of 122,000 units, and a speed power of 51,064 foot-pounds per second, roughly equal to a family's wagon horsepower. Yet, despite how popular these records of Francis's power are, Tyson claims we all don't know how powerful he is. He's been Francis's trainer and coach, and his closer view might just be more inspiring than we ever thought. Mike's statement about Francis's power is enough to suck out every ounce of confidence from Anthony Joshua.
See, Joshua has to know how to throw more punch. Boom, 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 jab. Gotta be like a He can't think that Jabber's got to constantly be out there and he got
He makes a big claim, bigger than what we ever thought. But he does this while stating that boxing isn't all about powerful hits, but so much more. You know how many people out there hit harder than me, but they're not champions. They hit harder than us. They look better than us. They got more money than us, but they're not champions. Mike creates the perfect balance to his initial claim. He reveals he wasn't the one with the most powerful hit during his reign. He speaks like there are many others who could do much better than he did at giving powerful punches. However, despite their powers, he was the champion. Despite their looks, he was the champion. He goes ahead to explain what exactly he means and gives Francis some deep insights on where a powerful hit comes in for a boxer. Having a hard punch is like having a nuclear weapon, but it doesn't serve any military value if it doesn't land on its target. Unsurprisingly, Tyson closes his predictions by tipping Francis for a sneaky win. I tip Francis for a win! It doesn't have to be a knockout. I see a 10-round match and him winning eventually.
Having a hard punch is like having a nuclear war, but it don't serve no military value if it doesn't land on its target.
Right.
Joshua's no walkover,
Right.
you know? It's just that for some reason...
After talking about Francis's power and how he needs much more than that for victories, Tyson predicts a win for Francis, but feels his power won't be the main deciding factor. In his opinion, both boxers will see out the match, but Francis will have the edge. Tyson predicts a 10-round victory for Francis. Francis leads the prediction battle. Another Tyson gives his take on the match between Anthony Joshua and Francis, and it's Tyson Fury this time. The Gypsy King, who had a sneaky and controversial victory over Francis some months ago, shares his opinion on who he thinks the winner will be. Well, you may expect a sentimental take from Tyson Fury, seeing as he and Francis have had no love lost between themselves ever since the match in October. Very recently, Tyson and Francis had a physical altercation, but the distance between them was long enough to ensure they had no physical contact. Tyson interrupted an interview where Francis was answering questions about his second boxing match. Francis was asked if a win against AJ would be his greatest achievement in combat sports. Francis said, "Yeah, it will be the best so far, but I'm just getting started." He then added that there's more to come, including another major victory over Tyson. "I'm really intending to gain a lot of major victories like this, one more over Tyson because I had the first one over him, and I'm intending to have the second one, and he has been bitching about it, which is true." Tyson responded to the audience angrily. "You're always in shade, so you can't see the record books. I beat your ass in that ring."
Yeah, he will be the best so far, but as I said, I'm just getting started. So I'm really looking for the victory of Friday night, but I don't think that will be making any statement of my career because the road is still long, and I'm really intending to gain a lot of major victory like this. One over Tyson, one more over Tyson.
Francis wasn't backing out either. He gave the boldest retort to Fury. "You're going to slip in the boxing ring, and I got to wipe the ring with your ass again. I wiped the ring with your ass. There was blood in the ring. It sticks with your pants."
You're gonna slip in the octagon again, and I'm gonna wipe the ring with your ass again. You wipe the ring with your ass. There was the blood in the ring. It's sticking in your pants.
Fury quipped and wasn't reluctant for a rematch with Francis. "That's the last night where I'll leave you in the ring standing." Francis, who was the one being interviewed, gave the final words. "I tell you, your only chance is in the boxing ring with the boxing rules. When you step off that ring, you'd better stay 5 meters away before I stick your *T, because if I lose it, you're going to have a really bad time. Respect that the rules of boxing protect us, but without that, you're nothing in front of me. I'll beat you every day twice on Sunday."
I tell you, your only chance is in the ring, in the boxing ring with the boxing rules. When you step off of that ring, you better stay 5 meters away before I stuck your shit. Because if I lose it, you're gonna have a really bad time, my friend.
With the intense rivalry between both boxers, you might think Fury would easily tip AJ for the win. However, Tyson's got no friendship with AJ as well, and he might just feel the same way about the both of them. Responding to questions on what he thinks about the match, Fury initially sounds indifferent. "I really don't care about it. They can knock each other's asses out and bring the winner to me." Then, he moves on differently and says, Turkey said the winner of this fight will get a shot at the winner of mine versus Usyk's match. We can get the Battle of Britain if Joshua gets past this big fella, who's a big man who can punch. Knockout chaos is definitely a great game. While Tyson seems preferential to Joshua for his British heritage and how a Joshua win can set up the Battle of Britain, he's got some advice for Joshua as well. He can punch. I don't know how good at boxing he is or how strong he is, but I know I was hitting him with full force punches with 10 Oz gloves on, and he didn't budge anywhere. What I do know is that I hit him with some good punches, and I hit him with an elbow right in the face, and it never budged him. With this, Fury sends a caveat to Joshua, telling him of Francis's power and strength. Perhaps Francis is more famous for his powerful punches, but Fury now reveals how much of great strength and resolve he's got to be thrown some dangerous punches and not budge. He then makes his pick, and it's somewhat expected. For some reasons, the match between I and AJ has been anticipated, and if a victory will give me a chance to kick his ass like I did to Francis, then so be it. AJ can have the win. One Tyson tips Francis, while the other tips Anthony Joshua. Let's see who's tipped next. It's the man who's been in the midst of so many controversies in the lightweight division over the match between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd excuses himself from the heat of the lightweight division and makes a bold claim about what he thinks about the match between Anthony Joshua and the Predator. When questioned about who he predicts will win the match between Anthony Joshua and Francis, he gives his preference and does well to state why. Remember, Mayweather has always had a decent relationship with Joshua, and before Joshua's loss to Usyk, Mayweather was willing to teach Joshua some pointers and help him improve some aspects of the game. Anthony Joshua, I told him from the beginning. I was one of the first guys to come on record from the beginning. I told him to come and I can teach him some pointers. He went on to explain his reason for the invitation. Because a lot of time, the same coach you have as an amateur doesn't always make him a great professional coach, because some guys are great at amateur coaching and some guys are great at professional coaching. I feel my dad was the best as a professional because he was teaching me without being an amateur. He was teaching me like a professional. In the long run, he wasn't so happy about Joshua's loss and expressed his worry about Joshua's frequent change of coaches. I just feel like Anthony Joshua. They keep going with different coaches. So many coaches are working for him. I told him in the beginning when he was undefeated, you got some things you still have to train on, but if you don't, then you may come up short. And he did.
They keep going to different coaches. Oh, this coach gonna work with him. This coach gonna work with him. I told him in the beginning when he was undefeated, you got some things you still got to tweak, because if you don't, then...
Well, that was for the match between Joshua and Usyk. Nevertheless, Mayweather still has some faith in Joshua. I think I mostly tend towards Anthony Joshua, and I really hope he's worked on the weak aspects of his game. He's come back from defeats and he's looking good. Mayweather trusts Joshua once more to go ahead and do the incredible. He gives an overview of Joshua's recent performances, claiming he's seen some improvements and hopes for even more. He then continues to share his thoughts. It's going to be a great fight, and I think Francis really has a chance. I was surprised by him against Fury, but I'm going to go with AJ. Most of the time, I tend towards him. Mayweather gives his prediction in Joshua's favor, but not without appreciating Francis's prowess. His shock absorber was needed to contain how surprised he was with Francis in his debut against Fury. I feel like Anthony Joshua struggles with smaller guys, so when he fights big people that are slower than him, he's able to use his boxing ability and be the better fighter. Mayweather concludes by backing up his stance with some analysis. He briefly analyzes Joshua's fight and observes Joshua's struggle with small guys. Joshua's height is 6'6", and you wouldn't find too many bigger than him. His height is clearly an advantage, but it seems to have some negative impact on his speed as well. However, when he eventually finds a big boxer who has the same speed challenge, he seems to excel. Mayweather's analysis seems so right and accurate when you consider Mike Tyson had almost the same issue to discuss about Anthony Joshua, the issue of his speed. Mayweather gives Joshua the victory. 3 of boxing's greatest athletes have made their predictions. And so far, it's Joshua 2, Francis 1. Let's see what the next pro has to say. Alistair Overeem also shares his prediction on the winner between the Predator and AJ. The Dutch former professional mixed martial artist and kickboxer is asked about who he thinks the winner is. Responding, he says, "I think it's a very exciting fight. I think Anthony Joshua, of course, is in a good rhythm right now." He begins with Anthony Joshua, stating the obvious fact about Joshua's current state. He claims Joshua is in a great state after bouncing back from his defeats, then moves on to Francis. On the other hand, Francis is also in a good rhythm. I'm sure he has built on his previous fight with Tyson Fury. His confidence will be high coming into this fight. Clearly, Overeem has more to say about Francis, owing to his surprising debug against Tyson Fury 5 months ago. Overeem feels Francis will be coming into the match very high-spirited. Tyson Fury was a big one to take on, and if he could achieve a near victory against him, he'd gotten himself bragging rights against all boxers in the heavyweight division. Overeem has some more to say. Imagine how it'll be going into a first-round fight. That does something to your confidence, so I'm just very curious who's going to win this. He then talks about the match between Tyson Fury and Francis in a little more detail. It's difficult to say. I was just very pleasantly surprised with the 8 count. And if you ask me, I think he came out of that fight unscathed.
Francis Ngannou also is in a good rhythm. I'm sure he has built on his previous fight with Tyson Fury. His confidence will be high coming into this fight.
Of course, boxing is scored in a certain way. Maybe Tyson Fury did a little bit more in the other rounds. It was just exciting. Let's not look backward. Let's move forward. In moving forward, he makes a bold statement about Anthony Joshua's abilities and assesses them like Francis would. Joshua would come into this fight with full confidence. He knows he can pull it off. Other than that, Tyson Fury has a similar weight to Francis, which affects his speed. But Anthony Joshua does not. So that's an advantage. I don't know. It's going to be an exciting fight on Friday. Being a former MMA fighter, Overeem answers some questions about his experience fighting Francis in MMA. Francis is extremely strong, extremely stubborn, and considering also his life story and all the way he came from Africa and almost in the streets of France. Very inspiring individual. After refusing to give Joshua any advice but a good luck wish, he concludes by picking who he deems his favorite for the match. "I don't bet on fights, but if I did, I would put my bet on Francis. I don't know about knockout, but it would immediately set up the rematch." It ends in a tie, with Joshua and Francis each having 2 pros predict in their favor. The next prediction happens in the boxing ring on March 8th, where both boxers fight themselves out to settle the score. Joshua would be on his 31st fight on March 8th and would be hoping to add another win to his 27 wins after 3 sad losses. Francis would be looking for his first boxing win in his second match and would hope to defeat Joshua and set up a rematch against Tyson Fury, who handed him his first loss. There are many questions left unanswered and many disputes unsettled. March 8th answers all the questions and settles all the disputes. Until next time, peace out.